here again. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's Saturday night, weekend. I hope everybody's been having a good weekend and you and your loved ones are doing good as always. And well, I'm here just to share a little bit of my thoughts, of course. And well, I've been thinking how the world's been changing, right? And how things are somehow backwards, you know, with young people more than anything. How society is being changing, apparently for the better, and unfortunately, as time passes, at least me, I've been observing that a lot of things are not like what it is supposed to be, or the results are like, or the contrary of what the intentions supposed to be with these changes that people has been doing, right, in some countries, because no all countries share the same views or the same um, ideas, right? So I noticed that society is becoming more and more sensitive, and is being educating young people and even adults, right? Um, to be more sensitive towards others in a lot of stuff, like getting offended too easy, getting offended for everything that other people express or do. And don't get me wrong, I understand that we should respect each other, right? We should think before we speak, right? That's the best thing to do, even though not everybody does it, right? Not everybody think. A lot of people just speak, their minds without thinking. And I know it could be, very harsh sometimes. Um, you know, with all this bully and all these things happening for decades, um, it's harsh for young people, that struggle with bully and with themselves, their identity, like, teens, kids when are in that transition from kid to a teenager, right? Is when they are more sensitive, they are more it's more delicate the way you should speak with them or to them, the things that you should do and say in front of them, because our kids are the reflection of ourselves. Our kids reflect the things that we are, we do, we say, how we behave, the things that we don't express, right? It's like they absorb even the things that you think they don't notice. They do notice, right? And sometimes they're more smart or more sharp, to caught some behaviors that we think we're hiding from them, but they see everything, right? And I think while society is trying to tell people, to be careful, to not offend somebody else, and then trying to make kids more I don't know, it's just, I feel like from some years, it's been a constant thing, the therapy thing, like people go and look for therapy for things that are not that serious, for things that can be resolved or fixed between the family, if only the family, the adults, the parents, take charge of their own family. If the parents were more like involved in their kids' life, talk with them, guide them, tell them a little bit of their experiences, their own experiences, and what they've been learning from their own experiences, right? To guide their kids, with things that you already went through and how you overcome them, or just to give good advice so they don't repeat your mistakes, right? I noticed that a lot of people, a lot of parents, rather send the kid to therapy or just ignore them instead of help them around with problems that are not even that serious. To me, for somebody to look for therapy, it should be things that have been hard of them, that you as a parent need assistance because it's not in your hands. You cannot control the situation, you cannot help your kid around, right? And you need a backup, you need support, right, from an expert, a professional, right? And some issues that your kid could be suffering from, like extreme bully abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, of course some illnesses or mental problems, right? But I've noticed that a lot of people send kids to therapy just because they rather put a stranger, right, to take the responsibility to help this kid. Some parents rather pay, right, for other people to listen to your kids, guide your kids, right, and do the things that you're supposed to be doing, the things that are your job, right, like listening to your kids, involving, be involved in your kids' life, right, and really really pay attention what your kids are struggling with, right? It's sad. I think it's sad because I am a person that I love to talk with my kids, even though my kids sometimes get annoyed by me saying that they don't like to listen to lectures and blah 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 blah. Is because I'm gonna say about this country, because I'm from Mexico, and obviously I was raised in a different way. My parents always talk with us. My parents always teach us things, listen to us, talk about their young life, when they were young, when they met each other, their relationships. My parents were always very involved in our lives, me and my siblings, and they would always tell us tales, about how they grow up, basically. And we learn, from a lot of things, even though we obviously, go through our own journey and our own human experience, and we do mistakes because we all make mistakes at some point, It's the way we learn, trial and error. But it's still a good guidance. Is gonna be always good, It's gonna probably minimize, your kids' mistakes or suffering, while they're navigating their own life and their own experiences. But I noticed that in this country, parents are not involved with their kids. At least no many of the parents of society. It's just a few families that really 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 pay attention to their kids. Life in this country is so weird because mom and dad working, mom and dad always, just worry about making money, going out the weekend, going out with the friends, drinking, partying, going to, you know, the stadium to watch a fucking, game, to a bar to, hang out with the friends. I mean, parents live a lot like the kids don't mean a thing, they're more worried about working, making money, and then waiting for the weekend to just hang around, with friends, or sometimes relatives even. But most of the kids have a life that the parents ignore, right? And the parents look to be okay with it, that the kids get raised in the streets, or they leave their responsibility, and fall on the school. So the school raise the kids, right? They think that the school is the ones that should be raising the kids. And there's a lot of young people lost. And it's not this the only country. I've seen in a lot of countries, in a lot of cultures, right? In Mexico right now, I don't know how life is. Probably could be like it is right here, right? I don't know, because it's been a long time since I moved over here. But when I was growing up, when I was young, things was totally different, right? And kids are so used to, have friends and other kids around, that their families just let them be, give them a lot of freedom, right? They even kick out the kids at younger age, right? They push the kids to the world when they're still young, when they still obviously cannot make good decisions, right? They think that because the life here is too fast and everybody does it, they think that just kids have the mentality to be right or be ready for the world, by themselves. But they don't even, talk to them like they should, right? About sex, about drugs, about relationships, about responsibilities, about God, it's just a lot of stuff that kids don't grow up and don't grow up with that, a lot of values, morals, and wisdom from the parents, right? Because the parents don't share their wisdom. They will talk about stuff, but don't want to touch certain subjects, right? Because it's uncomfortable, because maybe they feel like the kids don't care, or the kids not gonna listen, or whatever, right? In my case, sometimes I know that I can annoy my kids, by me talking and giving them lectures and trying to share my testimonies as well with my kids, and so they can get a little bit of, bigger view, bigger picture of how life is really. And more because all my kids are girls, right? I have 4 girls, and I'm always trying to be very involved, giving advices even when they don't ask. I always try to let them know, better ways to do stuff, better ways to react, better ways to think. And even, advices like, you have to always think before you open your mouth. If you don't have nothing important to say, just keep it to yourself, right? But also speak your truth, also stay your ground, also speak, about the things that you want to express without fear, obviously always respecting others, right? Because everybody has rights here. It's not just us, your rights end when other people's rights start, right? It's limits, there's boundaries, and you have to respect others no matter what. But a lot of people is like entitled, like as if only them rights matter, right? And that's why there's a lot of bullying, because a lot of people think that they're better than others, and they just enjoy provoking others and making them feel better, uh, you know, less than, belittle them, and all these things. And on the other hand, also society tells you, like, you shouldn't say this because, they're gonna get offended. You shouldn't make this image because other people's gonna get offended. You shouldn't speak your mind because other people's gonna get offended. You shouldn't wear whatever because other people is gonna get offended. And I think it's fucked up. I think what these things are doing to our kids is making them more sensitive, making them more weak, mentally weak. Because when you understand that whatever other people think about you, it has nothing to do with you. What other people do to you, it's not your fault, right? When you understand that all that is their own projections, is their own lacks, is their own mentality, right? Why are you gonna get offended? I know there's limits. I know, of course, there is limits. If somebody come directly to you and offend you, you have all the right to defend yourself, right? But if somebody make a comment, if somebody is like, let's say, the internet, expressing themselves, why are you gonna get offended by it? We're supposed to have free of speech. We're supposed to be free of expressing ourselves in a way that obviously is not gonna be directed towards nobody, but you should be free to speak your mind, to speak, your thoughts, like I am doing it right now. And nobody should feel offended, because in any way you're feeling offended, it's not because what I am saying, it's because it's triggering something in you, something that you need to revisit, something that you, need to pay attention, right? Something that you need to work on, because that is all that it is. When you feel triggered by somebody thoughts, way of expression, or truth, is because something in you is not right. Okay? So, for example, all these people that try to block me from my channel, from trying to make Facebook to, block me, cancel me, or make my post to be deleted or blocked, on all these things that these people do because they feel some kind of way for the thing that I say. It's not my fault, right? It's not my fault that I have to expose things that you are doing, right? If you are being an asshole and I am speaking my truth saying that you are an asshole, why are you gonna come here and say that my page had to be shut down just because I am saying the truth, right? If you feel triggered, what you should do is think about it. Why this person saying that I am an asshole? I am really an asshole? Maybe I need to check myself so other people can change, the idea they have about me, and work on yourself. Instead of trying to cover the sun with one finger, right? Instead of doing that, why you don't just check yourself and analyze, right? And if, let's say, I am saying lies, right? Then why you get triggered? If what I am saying is not the truth, why you get triggered? Why you bother, right? If I'm saying lies, why you don't let people decide if I'm lying or not? But you feeling triggered. So if I'm making you feel triggered, it's because there's truth in what I'm saying. Okay? And like I say, if you are smart, if you are a smart person, you're gonna be like, okay, well, I know that's not me. I know I'm not an asshole. And if I ever behave like that, maybe it was because you did something to me, right? And that was my way to defend myself or stand my ground or whatever. But when you're gonna do all this shit just to shoot me down or make me shut up when you know what I'm saying is the truth, right? But in this society where people has been growing up with the fucking idea that nobody should say or express themselves because you get offended, who give you the rights to you only? Who give you the right to think that you are the only one that can express in this world? Who give you the right to think that people cannot speak their truth just because your name is on their mouth, when you know what you've been doing, how you've been behaving, when you know that you are a liar, a false person? You know what I'm saying? So I've been thinking this whole thing about trying to censor everybody on Facebook, on YouTube, trying to make people look bad just because you feel triggered, comes from this idea of oh, you cannot say this because they get offended, you cannot say that because they get offended, trying to change everything from the way you write things down, from the way how you speak, from the ways how you even point out things that are wrong. Everybody's like, oh no, you cannot say this on TV, you cannot say this on that because they're gonna censor you, people is gonna get offended, so you cannot speak about this, you shouldn't be saying that, because everybody's gonna come after you because they're gonna get offended. What the fuck they gonna get offended for? Unless, like I say, they trigger by the truth, right? Because somebody that knows themselves wouldn't care. Like in my case, I know who I am. I know what I do. Okay? So in my case, I don't care about the lies, the gossip, and all this stuff that people is talking or being talking about me. If they say I'm a whore, if they say I'm this or I am that or whatever, I don't care, because I am smart. I've been not just healing, but learning a lot through my journey, my whole life, to know who I am and to know the difference from what I am and what people want to, portray me as. I know who I am. So no word in this world is gonna make me feel any kind of way. There is no way you're gonna make me feel less than, just because everybody in the town is saying that I am this, I am that. Fuck the fucking town. I know who I am. And I'm not gonna fall for that bullshit. I'm not gonna get offended. If anything, I feel bad for you, because you are the one that is gonna look bad. At the end, you're gonna look bad because all the lies that you're making up, because all the things that you're making up. Because while you're saying that I am the one that is still chasing you, still in love, or I'm gonna go back to you, or I did this or that, or all the lies that you've been saying, it's all that, just lies. So at the end, people can see who is hurt for real and who is not. People can see who's lying and who's not. People can see what you're doing, right? So why I'm gonna bother? Why I'm gonna feel offended? I don't think like people here thinks that I had to censor people so I don't get offended. Different is when you say in my face, you cannot say you are a bitch, you are a whore. Well, in that case, and even in those moments, I will just fucking turn and walk away. Because, like I say, I choose, I choose what kind of things are gonna affect me. It's in my hands to decide who and what is gonna affect me. You know, I'm smart and I know myself. And not just my confidence, but my self-love gives me that security to know that no matter what the world says, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. And I know I deserve respect and deserve whatever I have. And I'm not talking about material things, okay? So, what I think is society should teach the young people that is not your fault what other people think about you. That is not your fault what other people think, feel, or say about you. You know who you are. You know what you do. You know the things that you do behind closed doors. So, these young people, self-love, awareness, discernment, how to work with their intuition, how to listen their inner voice, how to be emotional intelligent, right? That is what society should do. Parents, teachers, therapists, they should teach young people to have self-love. Instead of me telling them, censor so-and-so, shoot down that page, or blocking people on TV from speaking their truth because others gonna get offended. Teach them how to fucking be strong-minded people, strong-minded person. Teach them how to love themselves so much that nothing is gonna affect you. Because a kid that is being bullied because others say, oh, you're ugly, or you're fat, or you're too skinny, or you don't know how to sing, you don't know how to dance, nobody likes you. All these things attack kids and make them insecure. And then you come and tell people, oh, you shouldn't say that because you're offending this kid. You shouldn't say that. Okay, it's true. But also, what are you doing with your kid? You're not teaching them how to stay their ground. You're not teaching them how to defend themselves. You're not teaching them how to love themselves, to feel so secure of themselves that nothing in this world can make them feel any kind of way. That is what we need to do. Instead of trying to censor everybody, we should make strong-minded kids. We should guide them. We should talk to them. We should show them real life and talk to them about our experiences, about the things even that we feel ashamed, because what we want is that our kids are better than us. If you don't want your kids to make the same mistakes, the best way to help them is not by hiding your past. It's not by hiding the truth. It's not by sugarcoating life or just ignoring it. The best way to help your kid is talking about it. You know what? I did these mistakes. I was in trouble. I didn't know better. Or I was stubborn, you know? And these are the consequences. So I'm telling you this so you can think about it if you are in this situation in the future and know how to navigate the situation better, or at least is your mistakes are not too bad or are less, right? But be keeping quiet and just censoring people, it's not helping. People is growing up super sensitive to everything. While some things are really, really bad, while some things I agree, like bullying is very bad, you're not gonna stop bullying. You're not gonna stop bullying by only addressing the bullies. You have to teach your kid to be strong, to create a shield, a mental shield against all these people, so these people don't have power over them. That's how you stop bullying. Because a bully only bully people that is weak-minded. Kids that nobody showed them how to stand the ground, that nobody tells them how beautiful they are, how much they are loved, how important they are. If you don't say your kids all these things, anyone can come and shatter their self-love, their awareness. You know, you have to remind your kids every day that they are loved, that they are important, they matter, that they're strong enough. So no matter who comes to them and tell them, you are this, you are that, they're not gonna move them. They're not gonna move them because you are teaching your kids how to be strong-minded, to be emotionally intelligent and have discernment enough to understand what these kind of bullies are really trying to do. When you can understand that it's only their own projections, that they're only testing you to see how weak you are, to see if you are a victim, an easy victim. That's what bullies do. They just start with some words. They just start trying to intimidate you, just to test if you're gonna allow it or you're gonna stand your ground, right? But censoring people is not helping. What helps more is making a strong-minded person, strong-minded kids, that no bully in the fucking world is gonna move them. That's how bullies gonna get tired of trying to poke in the bear when the bear is not even paying attention to them. The bullies get tired and move to the next victim. That's what happened. When you don't give them enough room for them to belittle you, they have no other option but to leave you alone, right? But how are you gonna do that if society is just saying that we should censor everybody so we don't get offended? And then if you say something, I'm gonna get offended, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna shoot down everybody because I'm getting offended, because I'm so weak in my mind that I cannot deal with other people's projections, with other people's lacks, with other people's insecurities. They're reflecting their insecurities in me. They're reflecting all the bullshit that they have in their mind in me. And then because I am weak, I'm gonna be an easy target. I'm gonna believe everything they say about me. And then people laughing and pointing at you and all this. How are you gonna feel? If the only answer is they should shut up, they shouldn't say this to you. Yes, we know they shouldn't say this to you, but it doesn't matter anyway, if you know who you are. Why are you gonna give room to these bullies to make you feel like that? If you are strong enough to know who you are, to know what ground you are standing on, they lost all their power. They lost all their power, and you take your power back. and then you teach them that they are wrong, that they shouldn't say these things to you without censorship, but with self-respect. You show them how much respect and love you have for yourself. You show them that no matter what they do, they say, they're not gonna move you. Okay? But if you're gonna take your kid to therapy because you cannot help your kid to be a strong-minded person, then what we're doing? We are just taking our kids to a stranger, paying a stranger to take care of kids, to give them that push in their self-esteem, instead of you being a parent and be the one that is there for them, be the one that is talking to them, listening to them. I understand there's a lot of parents that don't know how to do their job because they don't know better, because they themselves have parents that also ignore them or just didn't care, right? I understand. But it's the whole society. It's not just one family, it's the whole society. Always trying to censor people, always trying to attack people, always trying to, instead of just tell the truth. And the truth is, you shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't feel bad. Be strong. Know who you are. Have self-respect, self-awareness. Love yourself. Use your discernment. Work on your intuition. Recognize people that they only want to fuck with your mind, and be strong enough so they don't move you. You know? It's like, if you're not strong enough, you're always gonna be the victim. And the victim is always gonna try to censor and block and punish everybody else, instead of stand the ground. Instead of just say, wait a minute, you know what? I don't care what you're gonna say. I don't care what you're gonna tell others about me. Fuck you. Fuck you and your friends and all the bullshit that you're talking about. Go over there and say whatever you're gonna say. I'm not gonna give you my power. I'm not gonna let you make me feel any kind of way, because I know who I am. I have enough self-respect and enough love for myself to understand that you are just a weak person. A weak person that needs to bother somebody else to feel big, to feel important, to feel badass kid. But you're stupid. And that's the truth. You are a bully, you are stupid. You're not smart. You're trying to use your projection, your lags, and your bullshit that you have in your fucking mind to make another person be your victim. Just because you cannot mind your own business. Just because you cannot be a great person without having to hurt somebody else. You know? So what kind of respect people can have for a bully? But people is like, they play the two sides of the fence sometimes. Sometimes they applaud bully as long as it's not them. And on the other hand, they also want to censor when people speak the truth. I think that is a kind of bully too, right? When you're trying to censor a true speaker, you are trying to bully them too, to make them feel that they're wrong, to make them feel that their truth don't matter. That is a kind of bully, right? Trying to censor somebody else is a kind of bully. But everybody should know this. Everybody should know that the answer is not just censorship. The answer is know who you are. See where you are standing. And take care of your kids. Check where you're guiding them. Towards what? Are you abandoning your kids? Are you quitting your job as a parent? And I know you're gonna say, well, who you are to come and tell me how I'm gonna raise my kids. Well, then don't complain about the world. They don't complain about the things that is happening, because we are to blame. We are part of the society. We are the ones that guide the young people, and that young people is gonna be the future of the world, right? It's gonna be the future. So where you guiding your kids? If you don't care about yourself, then you're not gonna care about your kids. Then you're not gonna care about guiding your kids, because you don't care about yourself. You don't care about the future. You just care about living your day to day, right? You don't care about nothing else. You don't even care about your kids. Now, I cannot tell you what to do. You do what you will. I'm just saying, share this backwards. And then people complain about it. But you don't look back and think what has changed that make everything go to hell. Well, hypocrite. People is being hypocrite. Because on one side, people accept and respect some things that are wrong, but they want to shut up people that speak truth. You know what I'm saying? But when it's them, the ones that are being bullied, when it's them, the ones that are being affected by these kind of situations, then everything is wrong. Then they complain. But where you were when all this shit start going to shit? Was you paying attention? Did you really accept that these new things are right? Or you're just going to the flow because you don't care? This shit is crazy. It's crazy. I was victim of bullying when I was young, for too many years, until I start changing, until I start thinking and finding out that the power is in me. I am the one that decides what and who is gonna affect me. I decide what is gonna make me cry, what is gonna make me angry or sad. It's in me. Yes, you can come here with whatever bullshit you want and tell me the worst things and do the worst things. Like witchcraft, right? If you know all the things that you've been doing to me, all the horrible things that you've been doing to me, and you see that you cannot move me, what is going on? Why you keep doing it? Because people think that it's right to decide to attack somebody in any way, shape, or form. They think that they have all the right to censor somebody that is speaking the truth. So they continue attacking and attacking. And it's the mentality of the bully, right? But in my case, it's not working. Not even the magic works with me, because I am strong in my mind. because I can see better the whole view, the whole picture. Because I understood, again, that whatever these people do or say has nothing to do with me, okay? It's their insecurities, their jealousy, their envy, their own lacks, their lack of love, self-love, their lack of strong mind, you know? And everybody can say, well, you know, I grew up like this, nobody teach me. We all have multiple excuses, but there is a point when you reach, you know, to be an adult, where you cannot justify yourself with the same bullshit. You cannot excuse yourself, keeping excuses for who you are, how you are behaving. There is a point where you should know better. There is a point when you should start working on yourself and checking yourself. You cannot live and die excusing yourself from your own mistakes and problems, or the way you raise your kids because you went through a lot of shit when you were young. There is a moment when you should know better. And if you know that you didn't have parents that raised you well, parents that listen to you, that care for you, that protect you, that guide you, if you know this, why you don't go and look for therapy? Why you send your kids to therapy so the therapist can talk to them? Why you send them to therapy? You go to fucking therapy. You go to therapy. You help yourself so you can help your kid. If you know that you're an adult that went through a lot of stuff and cannot cope, or is a shame, or just avoid certain talks with your kid because you don't know how to manage the situation, ask for help. Read books, learn, pray. Ask for guidance to the universe so you can help your kid instead of just sending it to a stranger. Pay a stranger to do your job. Or not. But then don't complain about the war. They don't complain about young kids getting killed by bullies, by drugs, getting abused. When you are so scared of your own thoughts that you cannot even guide your own kids. You cannot throw your kid to the world with the idea that if somebody says something that triggers them, they should attack them. Why am I gonna teach my kids that if somebody makes you feel triggered, you should attack them or should tell them to shut up? No, kid, if somebody triggers you, check yourself. Why is triggering you? What is bothering you so much? Go within. Son, daughter, what is the problem? Because the problem is not the bully. The problem is not what the bully is saying. The problem is inside of you if you feel triggered. The problem with the bully is their own insecurities. But the bully don't affect you when you know who you are, when you are healed. But if somebody's triggering you, it's because there's something that you need to work on. If somebody say my kid that they're ugly, then I will tell my kid, okay, then we need to work on your self-love. Okay? Because if them telling you that you're ugly, or you're fat, or you're skinny, too skinny, or whatever, it's triggering you because you don't love yourself enough. Because you don't accept yourself. Because It's like magic. Shit doesn't work unless you have something that you need to heal about you. It's the only way magic is gonna work. When you are insecure, when you don't know yourself, when you are a people pleaser, when you are too clingy. That's how magic works. They use the problems inside of you to dominate you, to control you, to make you weak. But once you love yourself, once you have self-awareness, discernment, when you work on your intuition, when you know yourself for real and you know who the fuck you are, magic is never gonna work, or it's never gonna work again. Bully is the same thing. So instead of sending your kid to the therapy, it will be better if you work with your kid and teach them about self-love, about self-awareness, about discernment, about intuition. Teach them how to go within so they know who they are. They know their own worth. Tell them that they are loved, that they matter, so they don't feel weak or insecure in front of a bully. You know what I'm saying? As gay, you can say, I am nobody to tell you this, and it's okay. You're right, I am nobody. I'm just trying to make some things clear. Because in the world that we live, most of the people is not paying attention. Most of the people, even parents themselves, are weak-minded. They were victim of bullying. They're traumatized. They don't know how to cope still with, the childhood traumas and all these things. They're unhealed, so they cannot help the kids. So what's the better way to help our kids? Heal yourself, work on yourself, check yourself, transform your life, and your kids gonna mirror that. Slowly but surely, they will mirror that. But if you avoid the talk, if you avoid the responsibility, if you avoid all these things, your kids gonna avoid you too. They're gonna be living a life that you never gonna find out. And then you're gonna be crying because something happened to them. And you didn't even know what was going on, because you never opened that door. It's just an advice. It's just trying to point out some things. I know everybody has their own way to raise their kids, their own ideas. Some people, or most of the people, try to raise their kids the way they were raised because they don't know otherwise. And it shouldn't be like that. The way you was raised, that was on your parents. You are you. You're a different person. You should be a different person. Your kids are different than you. Why are you gonna raise them like you were raised in the first place? If things that you went through in your childhood hurt you, why are you gonna make your kids going through the same things? If you already know that that was not right and that impact your whole life, why are you gonna keep repeating cycles? Why? We need to love ourselves so we can love our kids and teach them how to love themselves. So nobody in the fucking world can fuck with their minds. So we can raise strong-minded people. And it's just an advice. Take it or leave it. Do what you will. But think about it. Think about it. People censoring other people is a bully. People censor the truth is bully. if we are in the country where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, then when people keep continuing saying, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't say, no, why not? Because you're triggered? Well, that's your problem, not mine. If you feel triggered, it's because you know that truth is in my words. And I shouldn't be censored because I am speaking truth. I am not going there, wherever you are, attacking you, affecting you. I'm speaking my own truth. And I shouldn't be censored. I shouldn't be bullied. Because the only thing that you're showing to the world by trying to censor me is that I am saying the truth. And it's the thing that you don't see, that people is starting to see. Why you get so offended? Why you get so affected by my truth? It's because they're no lies. But what you're saying is the lie. What you're saying is what you're doing. All the things that you accuse me is the things that you are doing. That's why you want me to shut up. Because of the lies. Lies like people even saying that I am dead. Don't want me to be on public eye because they've been saying that I am dead so they can do whatever they're doing. Faking my death. Or, I don't know, using my name, stealing my identity. So I shouldn't be on public eye because that will ruin your plans, right? Fucking with my numbers, my views, all these things, so the world don't see that I am the real person, right? That's all that you're doing. But because this country let you and allow you to try to censor me, you keep trying. Because this freedom of speech is not even real. You see it on Facebook. People thinking that saying about words should be censored. Why it should be censored? It's a way of expression. If I say fuck that shit, I'm saying fuck that shit. I'm not saying fuck you, right? So why are you gonna be offended? And now if the way I express myself offend you, why you watch me? Why? Don't get offended. Stop watching me. I am not offending you. I am expressing myself. And that's the way I express myself. So just think about it. The world will change a lot if everybody have a better, strong mentality. If we take our power, nobody can bully us. It's not gonna be fun for them. No more. They're gonna get tired, right? So it's not just about punish the bullies. It's about taking care of your kids' education, morals, values, teaching them how to love themselves, teaching them how to be a bigger person, how to respect themselves and ask for respect from others and put boundaries when it's needed. That's how the world will change. Raising strong kids, strong-minded kids, not teaching them how to censor others, but stay on your line, speak your truth, and mean it. Mean what you say. Censorship is not always the answer, okay? Self-awareness, discernment, intuition, self-love. That's more important than censor others. I hope you like the message. And if you don't like it, it's okay. Like I say, I'm just trying to help people to see things with a different eyes, in a different perspective. Because what we're doing obviously is not working, right? It's not working. Share is just going down. Kids are more sensitive, right? Parents are more detached from their role in their kids' life. And that's exactly the difference here. That's exactly the difference here. But obviously you do what you will. If you like my message, I'm glad. I know not everybody see the things the same way I see them. I know. But some will. Some will. And slowly but surely, things have to change. And it's not on us, it's also in our kids. Don't forget, they are the future. They are the society. So, think about the future that you want to, leave your kids in when you're gone. We cannot be playing two sides of the fence, censoring others, bullying, and then play the victims. We cannot do that. We're not victims. We're not. So, I love you all. I hope you don't get offended, but if you get offended, just think about what I say. If you get offended, it's something triggered in you. It has nothing to do with me. If you think that who I am to say all these things, well, I'm a human. I live in this country. I have freedom of speech. And I have all the right to share my thoughts. And that's what it is. It's just a thought. Take it or leave it. If it helps, helps. If it's not, oh well. I'm just trying to really be part of this movement of making a difference, right? Raising better kids to change the world. And the best way to change the world is by raising kids strong enough so bullies cannot move them. And believe me, with the bullies, it will be different. It will be a different world, for sure. God bless you. Thank you for watching me. Bye-bye.